So my name is Leena Anttila and I'm from the Finnish Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, and I'm working, for example, with EIP here. I'm planning to tell first shortly a bit about how the EIP is organized in Finland in the CAP strategic plan, and then what are the specific requirements for the transnational cooperation in the Finnish national legislation, and finally how to implement a transnational cooperation project in practice in EIP and also other transnational cooperation projects in Finland. We can also fund other transnational cooperation projects, not only EIP. So the next slide, please. Okay, so in this new CAP plans period of Finland, we have total public funding for EIP 20 million euro, which is much more than in the previous when we originally only had 3 million euro, because this has been a very successful type of projects. And this time we have 5 million euro for national EIP projects, which was the only type of EIP in the last programming period. But in addition, we now have 15 million for regional EIP projects that are where the decision is made in the regional ELY centers. We have defined a maximum total public funding to be 500,000 per EIP project, but no minimum limit has been set up, so it can be anything. Normally, we have 1 or 2 times per year a call for national EIP projects, and calls for the regional EIP projects are continuous, but the selection is done 4 times per year. So you can apply any time, and then every 3 months they make a decision of the application that has come so far. Okay, then the next, please. We have set some specific requirements for transnational projects in the Finnish national legislation, and actually it's not much, it's only these 3 points. That there's a requirement that you must have a minimum of 2 partners in a transnational project, meaning 1 partner from Finland and at least one from another country. Then in the description in the application, you have to justify why the project needs to be transnational. There must be some added value you get from the transnationality. You get something that you cannot get if the project is only implemented nationally or regionally. And the third one is that the costs for coordination of transnational cooperation projects are eligible in the Finnish funding, as well as costs to, for example, invite speakers from other countries for a joint seminar and so on. But in all other aspects, the transnational projects follow the same rules and the procedures as the national projects, that these are the only extra you must have for the transnational cooperation projects, at least in the Finnish legislation. Then we have a lot of earlier experience on the transnational cooperation in the rural development programs, and also now in the CAP strategic plan, the similar approach we can continue. Like since we joined in EU in 1995, we have had the transnational leader projects, and they are implemented the same way as now the EIP projects. And then we also had already in the last program or previous programming period, a transnational cooperation project between Finland and Estonia. Okay, then the next. Then it's how to implement the transnational cooperation project in practice. There are actually 3 steps. First, or actually there should be already one before that. First, you have to find the partners, of course. But when you have found the partners, then you first have the joint planning of the project. But you must have, of course, joint objectives with your partners, something that you both want to achieve. And when you are planning the project, you have to take into account the specific requirements, what there are in the national legislations, for example, in the participating countries, and also the timing of the calls and maybe the themes of the calls, what you have in the different countries that are with this project, or where the partners are from. Then when you have designed your project, what you are going to do, then each project partner in different countries has to apply for funding from own country, from own managing authority, to implement that part of the joint activities that you have decided on when you have done kind of division of tasks. What are you going to do in the projects? Because this is that CAP strategic plan is not really a transnational program, so that's why there is no common pool of money, but everybody has to fund their own part from their own managing authorities from their own country. And then when you have applied for funding and you have received the funding, there must be some time gaps that everything does not happen exactly at the same time in each country because of different procedures and different requirements you have. So you have to be a bit flexible there. But then when you have the financial decisions from the managing authorities, then you do the joint implementation as was planned, as you have planned together and agreed among you. There was also some questions that had sent about this procedure beforehand, so I can go through them now. So there was a question about how can future partners in transnational OGs find each other? There is, of course, not any place where everybody can find the partners, but there are many things how you can try to find new partners, for example, through your national networks who have a lot of contacts and can help you further. Then is this Commission EIP Agri website where you can find the previous what have all EIP OGs that already have received funding, and there you maybe can find some people that might also be interested to work with you in a new project. And then, of course, every organization has their own contacts. And like it was said in the previous presentation, you need this trust also to build the trust when you start the transnational cooperation project. So it's very good if you can work with somebody you somehow already know. Then there was a question about how do managing authorities from member states that are interested in transnational OGs organize the calls. This is also that you can try to cooperate between the managing authorities and try to synchronize the calls and try to maybe synchronize the themes as far as possible. And then you can also think that how you can organize this as smoothly as possible, taking into account that each country anyway have their own requirements. And then there was a question how the evaluation of applications will happen. Well, because that you have to apply for funding from your own country, then of course also the evaluation of application is done as it is always done in that country according to their requirements. And then each part of the project funding got their decision in accordance with the requirements of their own country. And one more question was about how the project costs will be split and reimbursed by the different paying authorities or paying agencies from different countries. This is the same thing, that because this is actually the funding comes national in a national level, then you just follow the normal rules in this country. Okay. Then I think, and then I have also marked here that it's good to have a written agreement between the transnational partners also for this transnational part of the project, so that you know what you who is going to do what and who is responsible on what part of it. But otherwise, yes, please. Next slide. The cooperation here is very important. Not only between the project partners, but between managing authorities, paying agencies, and of course, national rural networks, although they cooperate anyway with each other. But to make a successful transnational cooperation project in these premises, it's very good if you can in an early phase contact your managing authority, and they should also contact their colleagues in these countries you want to work with, so that to make this happen as smoothly as possible. And also that you got information about timing and themes of the calls in the different countries and specific requirements you might have in the national legislation, and how the decision-making procedure usually works out. All this is very essential for success to plan a transnational cooperation project. And then, of course, national rural networks can help project applicants to find information and potential partners as well from other member states, as they have an extensive networks. And then finally, then to sum up, that there are no administrative structures or procedures for transnational cooperation projects, nothing extra in the EU legislation of CAP strategic plans. But you can very well implement transnational cooperation projects through the existing legislation, what we have, and the existing procedures. And for this, we have already experience in LEADER and also some in EIP. And each project partner really has to apply for funding from their own managing authority, so there is not any one pool of money where you all apply. And then this means that you have to do a lot of cooperation and get information and synchronize things, but it works. It has worked already, and I'm very sure that it will work. Just you get started with it. But really, the coordination and cooperation is essential at all levels of administration and also at the project implementation phase. So just very important to keep each other informed and be contact between managing authorities and paying agencies, as well as the national rural networks. And I think that was all, and I'm sorry that I have this template in Finnish, but it's rural.fi.